Hey guys, it's Hybrid. Comic Con is over, and I know it's weird because usually, of all things, you think a comic book channel would do Comic Con videos, but I didn't because I have a job. I get really busy with the job. White Sheep has a job. He gets really busy with the job. So we decided instead of doing like the live coverage stuff that a lot of other channels do too, why don't we just do like reactions slash responses slash thoughts? So this is mine for Avengers 2 Age of Ultron. Now, Armin touched upon this because I shared my idea with him, Facebook chat. But what my idea basically is so we know there's no Hank Pym. How to say? Thanos is behind everything. According to Joss Whedon, Thanos is like the mastermind of everything. And what I'm thinking is going to happen, essentially, we have Jarvis. And Jarvis is going to be upgraded. And he's going to be upgraded so much that there's bound to be a fault in the coding, and I know for a fact because I programmed robots before, it's very hard and very easy to mess up. So it's entirely possible for Tony Stark to mess up, especially if, most likely he does this, he has an automatic upgrading kind of thing. Like he'll, patch some issues, but just kind of shoot that into the software and hope it repairs itself, if you know what I'm saying. Anyone that does any robotic code at all, you might get what I'm saying. Because sometimes when you think you patched one thing, you totally screw up another thing. And that's what I'm thinking is going to happen with Jarvis's programming. Thus, we get Ultron. What's going to happen is his kind of somewhat morality kind of program is going to get totally ruined. So he's going to go into that whole submit or perish kind of, mindset that Ultron's infamous for. And through that, he's going to because he's not an idiot, obviously, he's going to think, hey, if I want to take over the world, I got to take out all these people, the Avengers, the Avengers. So he uses all of the data from Tony Stark's previous armors, which is a lot of data, by the way. If we saw Iron Man 3, we know there's a lot of armors that do specific things, and we know that Jarvis is fully capable of hacking into, Shield and things like that because Tony put a hacking thing into the Shield database. So it's entirely possible Jarvis accesses all of Shield's files and other Stark files to get information on the weaknesses, strengths, etc. of the Avengers and Shield and all of the possible threats. And then he uses the rest of the Stark files on the armors that have been made and potential armors to make what would be the ultimate armor to take over the world based off of the stats that he has collected from the numerous sources he has. So through that, that's how we get the Ultron armor, the infamous silver Ultron armor. And what I think is going to happen is he's not going to, consider Tony Stark. I'm guessing they're going to make see, they could do this route, which might be a bit kind of cliche-ish, but they're just going to have that flaw where he's like, Tony Stark isn't, an immediate threat kind of thing. Where either Jarvis is like, he hasn't been Iron Man for a while, he hasn't tried making any new armors for a while, thus I don't need to worry about him. Or we can go into that mindset where Jarvis has a soft spot in his program for Tony Stark. That's entirely possible, I can see that happening. But anyways, what I'm guessing is he makes the ultimate armor that could defeat everybody in the program. At least, that's what the program simulations do when they simulate different types of armors, different types of upgrades against this opponent. This is the best, strategically sound one. So he uses that. He starts taking over the world. The Avengers come, minus Iron Man, and he defeats them. Then they ask Tony for help. And Tony, feeling responsible, he has that, big change of heart kind of thing, like he did in Iron Man 3, where he was like, you know what, this is my responsibility. Or not like Iron Man 3, Iron Man 1, where he's like, this is my responsibility, I need to fix it. So he makes a new Iron Man armor. And this is where I hope to God they introduce the Marvel Cinematic Universe version of the Bleeding Edge armor. Or it's entirely possible to go the black and gold route, because that's what's currently really popular with the Marvel Now stuff. But I'm praying they do the Bleeding Edge kind of armor. So anyways, I'm hoping we get that versus the Ultron armor, plus the Avengers. Now, I'm hoping they don't just totally put the Avengers aside and have an Iron Man versus Ultron fight, because the potential is that could be very emotionally Joss Whedon said it's supposed to be a much more personal Avengers film, and that would be very personal. Jarvis, who obviously has a close connection to Tony. Them both fighting. It's like two friends fighting. Kind of like if Rhodey and Tony were to fight, except for they'd probably play it off much more emotionally intensely. If I just totally used wrong grammar, emotionally intense, because this is Jarvis. Tony made Jarvis. Jarvis knows everything essentially. Tony, that's like his confidant, kind of like. Yes, there's Rhodey, but Rhodey and Tony have their regular clashes, kind of clashes of opinions, clashes of point of views, which is basically opinions. But anyways, putting that aside, basically the stakes are very high for this fight, and I could easily see them just doing really like kind of I'm just gonna call it the bleeding edge armor because that's what I really want. Bleeding edge Tony versus Ultron Jarvis. That's what I'm betting the final fight is going to be somewhat, and I'm guessing Ultron's gonna have other drones, and the Avengers are gonna be fighting the other drones, and I'm betting this fight will take place in New York, but it's entirely possible it takes place somewhere else. And I think it'd be very smart. See, because they could totally play off Ultron going to New York, because strategically a lot of people are in New York, and if he wants to kill humanity, that'd be a perfect place. So they could totally do that again, except for I just feel like a lot of reviewers and critics would feel like that's repetitive in a way where it's like, why go back to New York over and over again? Unless they actually give it an actual reason besides, hey, I want to be theatrical, nod to Loki. But yeah, so that's what I think is going to happen based on the information we have. Now, we know Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are going to be involved. How I think they're going to play a part into that, that's very hard, because we haven't seen them at all before. They're going to be introduced in this film. And there's a big rumor that the Terrigen Mist, I think I pronounced it right, that's going to be related. And that's also very related to the Inhumans. So that'd be really interesting. But supposedly that's going to be into it, and it makes a lot of sense because they're having that Marvel event coming up soon where that's actually involved. And traditionally lately, when Marvel events happen regarding a certain thing, that certain character or object will be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because even if they don't want to admit it, they want the comics to go with the film somewhat, so it kind of promotes it, even if it's like a subliminal promotion. So yeah, I think that's going to play a part, and I think what's going to happen is Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are going to be kind of the oddballs that Ultron doesn't expect. And the way that could work is because, as we saw with, if you guys read the whole, why can't I remember, Avengers vs. X-Men, Scarlet Witch was like the X Factor, because, her hex powers. So I think that could play a part into defeating Ultron. One problem I'm going to have is Ultron traditionally is made of adamantium, so it's going to be hard to not make him out of adamantium unless they use vibranium, but then the question is going to come up, where did he get the vibranium from? Thus, we go to Black Panther, which could be a very kind of awesome way to go into Wakanda, Black Panther, because you could have like an end scene credits or something where we have Ultron sends the Vision to Wakanda or something. I don't know, but if Ultron is made out of vibranium in this movie, that'd be a great way to kind of have Wakanda start forming into the MCU. And I know I'm kind of just fanboying out there, but that's all all you can really do with predictions. Really, you just use your comic book knowledge and you fanboy yourself out there in the most what would be logical way with the information you have. So like I said earlier in this video, Thanos supposedly, according to Joss Whedon and Kevin Feige, which I think it's Kevin Feige, but people say Feige, I don't know. I'm just going to call him Feige, because I think it'd be Feige if it was a J in there. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I heard it's different because it might be like a European dialect and how they pronounce it there versus like what we say in America, or Central America, South America, Asia. I don't know, but correct me if I'm wrong. Feige, or no, sorry, Feige. Kevin Feige said Thanos is like the mastermind. And I knew Thanos would be saved for the third film, because Joss Whedon said he didn't want to peak too early, because Thanos is like the big bad. And plus it makes sense because they could use this time to collect a crap load of heroes to fight Thanos, because I'm not saying that the Avengers aren't powerful by any means, but compared to Thanos, they are not powerful by any means. So just keep that in mind, everybody. Don't be mad that Thanos isn't the baddie of number 2, because who would possibly make the stakes higher if Thanos was number 2? Just think about that. You'd only go downhill, and people would be underwhelmed after getting Thanos. Thanos is the peak. Thanos is what's gonna make, like, Avengers 1, you thought you were like creaming yourself in that one. For Avengers 3, you might have to buy your own like theater because people are gonna complain that you're just going ballistic in it. So, but anyways, I think Thanos might play a part. It would make sense because part of Ultron's traditional programming is just kill everybody. And obviously we know what happens when you get killed. You die. Death. Thanos. Thanos is happy with death. He loves death. Put that together, guys. So I'm guessing either Thanos is going to mess with the programming, or like I said, it might just be Tony Stark's fixing a patch in Jarvis' software, and easily from doing that you can open up a flaw somewhere else in the software. Just from my robotics background, I can totally see that being possible, but then again, it's just, there's so much possible there, and I'm just saying what I think is highly likely to happen. So comment below with your thoughts, like the video if you liked it, hopefully you liked it. Subscribe, comment, and like, and I'll see you guys later with my next kind of thought theory, whatever, from something we saw at San Diego Comic-Con. Also comment below with what you'd like me to talk about. I'm free to talk about anything you guys want me to, and yeah, I'll see you guys later.